Hello and welcome to SBN News. As we are every Friday at noon, Scott and I are here to give you a roundup of what's been happening, what's coming up, and we will be introducing you to and chatting with two lucky guests. Our members may have seen my post in the members portal, but do drop Scott and I a message if you want to join us for a chit chat on our SBN News.
Yeah, and as you might have seen as well, we've been steaming ahead this past week, as have the members. Our chairman, Russell, appeared in the Scotsman last week, sharing his advice and his thoughts to people looking to start a business in 2021. He wasn't the only one in the Scotsman. Matt Smith of Primal Adventures also featured when he wrote a piece on reflecting on the past in order to save the present. Flow Digital Pharmacies had some news. They're looking to grow their team after their successful crowdfunding campaign at the tail end of last year. Sylvia Baldock's also got some exciting news. She officially launches the Becoming More Significant podcast tonight. You can join the launch party on Mixcloud from 7 p.m. Some past SBN speakers and current SBN members also featured with the update from Young Enterprise Scotland. Peter Proud, Poonam Gupta and Sir Jim MacDonald were all appointed as ambassadors at the organisation. There's also been some virtual events this month, this week. London Scottish House hosted their virtual coffee break, this time interviewing Ian Houston. He was talking all about what the new presidency in the States is going to mean for relations with Scotland. And Russell Dalgleish sat down for the first SBN interview of the year when he chatted to Scottish footballing legend Craig Brown. That was a members-only event, but it is recorded and we'll be publishing that in the coming weeks. Speaking of events, we've got a lot of things to look forward to. Next Tuesday, the 19th, we have a lunch and learn session with Joy Lewis. She's going to take guests through how to tackle difficult conversations on racism, diversity, equality and inclusion. That event is open to all SBN members and Scotland House members, so you can find the details of that below. We've also got our first of our online series next Tuesday, and we'll be welcome guests for some virtual networking beforehand, followed by a masterclass with Dame Laura Lee, the Chief Executive of Maggie's. And we'll also be hearing asks from some SBN members. Craig Everett, Ian McNeil, Annabelle Beckwith and Alexandra Byrne will all be taking centre stage. It's not just member events coming up though. We've got some digital conferences coming up too that's open to everyone. On January 28th, we've got our Burns and Business event where we celebrate Rabbie Burns and the deep connection between the US and Scotland. Then on February 2nd, we've got the Net Zero Scot Digital Conference. We'll be covering practical steps you and your business can take towards becoming net zero, the importance of COP26 and what it hopes to achieve, and we'll discuss some of the resources available to support businesses taking these steps. As always, you can find all these details on everything we talk about today in the description of this video or on the SBN website.
So I think it's time to welcome our first guest. He's a well-kent face and voice within our community. It's our SBN Ambassador for Communications and the host of our SBN podcast. It's Fraser Allen, Director of Fraser Allen Communications. Hello, Fraser.
Thank you.
How are you?
Very good, thank you. I should just warn people listening, I have a very noisy Lakeland Terrier in the room with me, so there could be some background noises.
I think Angus is famous enough, so we'll welcome that on the show today. So, Fraser, can I ask you to start by telling us a little bit about yourself and the journey so far?
Well, in terms of my career, it's really all been about the written word and communications. As a kid, I was obsessed with newspapers and magazines. I launched my own magazine when I was 15 and sold it every month in the school playground. And actually made a profit, which can't be said of every venture I've been involved in since. So from there, it was only one thing I wanted to do, that was become a journalist. So I became a business journalist in London, also spent a year in Istanbul as a newspaper reporter. And then one thing led to another. I ended up working for a big marketing agency in London on some big campaigns. So I took all those experiences. And nearly 20 years ago, yes, I am that old, I launched my own comms and marketing agency in Edinburgh called White Light Media. And we had some amazing adventures, worked on really big projects with people like Lloyds Banking Group, Standard Life, Tesco, Total, loads of people, and smaller organizations as well. And it was great. But then it was a long time to be running a business like that. About 2 or 3 years ago, I decided I really would like to take moving to a different phase of my career. And I spent a lot of time, as you do, running a business, on looking after the accounts, the admin, the red tape, HR issues, etc. And I really wanted to get back to what I love most, which is working closely with clients, getting to know them, being on their side, kind of helping them as much as I can, and writing, working on the content and the content strategy. And so, to cut a long story short, in 2019, I agreed a management buyout with my managing director, and so now I've started all over again.
Yes, so you've launched as Fraser Allen Communications, and you've returned to that one-to-one basis working with clients. So how's that been for you? Has there been any standout projects?
Yeah, well, it's obviously actually very timely for me, fortunate. So this time last year, I was already working from home on my own with the very imaginatively named Fraser Allen Communications. And so things started off quite well and then went very quiet, with lockdown and so on. So by May, I had a beautifully manicured garden. It was looking fantastic. But it's been really busy since end of May. And actually, people have come to me, and it's mainly been writing content. So a lot of web content, a lot of thought leadership, writing blogs, white papers. I've written a couple of books, video scripts, all kinds of things. I'm launching a podcast series as well for an international company that's happening soon. Loads of, I've done all kinds of things, written about leather, whiskey, a lot of finance stuff, a lot of B2B.
You definitely kept busy, and I've seen you writing on a broad. Hello, Angus.
Is it okay if I hold him?
Yeah. So what support can you and Angus offer to those listening on today's show?
Yeah, sorry, my noisy assistant has joined me here. Well, there's kind of four things I do really. First is the writing that I've mentioned. Mainly B2B. Right, I tend to do a lot of writing quite complex and dry subjects, bringing them to life, tackling areas that a lot of jobbing freelancers would shy away from. Done a lot of content strategy and kind of tactical work with brands over the years. So I know a lot of companies are looking at fresh ways to tell the story of their brand in the current circumstances. So I can certainly help with that. And a lot of project management work. So if you've got comms marketing requirements and you can't handle them yourself, or you don't want to, I can take on that responsibility. And finally, people will know me from the Scottish Business Network podcast that Angus has appeared on in the past, in the background. And so I can help you with your podcasts, if that's something you're looking at.
Well, we definitely can't recommend enough for people to get in touch with you if they're looking for that kind of content strategy, and for any advice and tips on running a podcast, because you've done absolutely brilliantly for SBN and you're a much loved voice in the community. So what's on the cards for you in 2021, Fraser?
Well, given what's happened in 2020, I'm not really looking to make any big plans or predictions, and I'm just really enjoying what I'm doing. I've got some brilliant clients, and I'm keen to take on more and try new challenges. And so I'm just actually happy just doing what I'm doing at the moment. Working with people and just seeing what happens and trying to keep the dog quiet.
Amazing. Well, it's been a delight to have you on SBN News, and it's been a delight to see Angus join us as well. So thank you very much, Fraser. We'll speak to you soon.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you very much, Fraser. I'm delighted to welcome our next speaker and newly appointed SBN Ambassador in India, Tom Thomas. Hello, Tom.
Hi, thank you. Thank you.
It's great to have you on. Where are you joining us from today?
From Bangalore, Scott.
Oh, you're in Bangalore. Brilliant. It's currently minus temperatures and pouring with rain in Scotland, as you could probably guess. So
we are about 24 degrees here. A very pleasant.
Oh, jealous. So thank you for joining us, Tom. Just to get started, I wanted to ask, how did you hear about SBN and why did you want to get involved?
Well, thank you for asking this very interesting question. I tried to explain how I came across SBN is because I saw a post on LinkedIn that Russell put out that he is actually going to raise money for a charity event by running, and it intrigued me why this Scotsman would run for an Indian charity. And Scotland is very dear to my heart because I have had business relationships with Scotland for the last 15 years, and it had a lot of impact on me as well as on my team and the companies back and forth. So I reached out to Russell, and we actually did this charity event, running for charity together in India and Scotland. And one thing led to another. And mind you, this is in the peak of COVID lockdown, where we said, let's see what we can do together. I had a shared love for Scotland. He also had a shared affection for India. And he said, can we work together? And that's it. And here I am.
And we're delighted to have you. So one thing that people might have seen in the press release we launched along with your appointment is that you're based in Karnataka in the south of India. And I wondered if you could tell us a little bit about what the market's like there and if you think there's opportunities for Scottish companies to get involved there.
Absolutely. Karnataka is a southern state in India, and Bangalore is the capital of Karnataka and also the technology hub of India. You may or may not have seen a news item that says Tesla is launching in India, and right from Bangalore is their first office. So it just gives you an example of how technology oriented the city is. We have the highest number of startups. We have the largest biotech cluster. There's also opportunities in pharma, life sciences, biotech, and clean energy. And these are all the very great opportunities that Karnataka or Bangalore can bring with Scotland. It also helps that Scotland has a mind share. Scotch whiskey is very well known here in India. And, just yesterday I was at a meeting and asked somebody, what would you like to drink? And he said, Black Label. So, that shows how popular Scotland is. So I think now it would really look good to look at the other opportunities besides whiskey and other sectors. There's so much emerging technology that is available in Scotland in these different sectors. The opportunities for them here, and we are a very vibrant, dynamic, growing economy, and I think there are manifold opportunities for Scottish companies to collaborate here in India.
Yeah, and you mentioned how diverse it is with things like biotech and sort of emerging renewable technology, which is growing very fast in Scotland. So it sounds like there's a lot of synergy there. One other thing that you've started helping us with is you've started writing your India Weekly Update that we've been including in our Scottish News Flash. I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit more about what you'll be including in that and what readers can expect from that.
Yeah, thank you, Scott. I was having a discussion with Russell and Christine, and we thought, that one of the good ways to highlight the opportunities of India is actually what is going on here. And on a weekly basis, for me to actually capture, for me as a business person, what are the kinds of trends that I see that could impact and could be of interest to Scottish companies or Scottish businesses. And that seems to be gaining a lot of traction. And please do stay tuned to this. And I request any SBN members, if you have any other specific feedback, anything else, you can always reach out to me. And some of the companies that started out as small startups here in Bangalore became very big brands. Companies like Infosys, Wipro, Biocon, you may be familiar of these names, whichever part of the world you're at. They started as small startups here. So there's a lot of opportunity. I would hope to bring to you, to SBN members, this opportunity every week because it's so fast changing, so dynamic, so that you can get a feel of what the market is like through this media update. Thank you.
Yeah, and as you say, when companies like Tesla announce their opening offices, that's global news and everybody can see that around the world. But with your update, we're hoping to get more weekly notes about what's happening on the ground. And again, with your base there, I'm sure you'll be there to help Scottish companies if they've got any questions about the local market.
Absolutely. Anytime companies can reach out to me at my handle, tom@sbn.scot. I'd be happy very much to reach out and guide them in whatever way I can best do.
Brilliant. Well, I just want to say thank you very much for joining us, Tom. It's good to get you out and introduce you to the wider Scottish Business Network community. And I'm sure we'll be hearing a lot from you in 2021.
Thank you, Scott. Definitely.
Thank you very much, Tom.
Thank you.
Thanks again to today's guests. And as Scott and I said earlier, if you want to join us on SBN News, get in touch with us. We'd be delighted to have you.
Yeah, and all the information we shared today can be found in the description of this video and on the SBN website. And members, if you're looking to sign up to some of our upcoming events, you can find them on the members portal. Thank you very much, everyone.
See you next week.